Hey everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoble, and you are on the lifeboat. And I'll tell you what, this is a very unique lifeboat. I don't care if we're not doing this one to be salacious or to get views or anything else. The idea behind this one is we're going to approach this one a little differently. The holiday season is coming right now, and there's an active shooter in the college campus at UNLV. Apparently, there are at least two victims at a minimum. There may be more than that. Because it is an active shooter situation, it's difficult to get news out of the campus. Now, listen, before we start jumping into this, before you get neck deep in this, may I suggest some things? Number one, right? Thoughts and prayers. They had a system at the campus, and a text went out to every single student on the campus that said, get into a shelter where you're at right now, get in place and get low. This is a unique situation in that this is probably one of the better prepared campuses in the U.S. apparently for this. They drill a lot, and they're pros, and there's a lot. They're not, things people have learned quite a bit from these other situations that took a long time, like the one in Texas. That's not going to happen. But listen, every time one of these happens, you know what gets lost in the shuffle? The victims get lost in the shuffle. We all start talking about whether or not this cat should have been able to have a gun and whether or not guns should be sold and stupid crap, honestly. Because let me tell you something, right? This is just pure fact. If I wanted a gun, I could get one in 25 minutes in this city. And I live in a city I've never lived in before, right? Criminals can get guns. So all the things people want to talk about with filling out papers, criminals don't fill out papers. They go where criminals buy guns. I promise you, they're not hard to find. I'm just keeping it real, right? So let's leave all the stupid crap aside and maybe focus on sending positive messages and prayers and thoughts to the family of these people. Let's not make this a political thing that divides anybody, right? Because the only thing we should be worried about are the people that are hunkering down right now at this campus. The rest of it's all BS. It is, right? And it's BS they love. You realize that both parties are rubbing their paws together right now, right? And their promotion arm of the left and the right is cranking right now, right? One side's praying the guy's got some mental illness in there so that they can exploit this, right? Literally, these sick bastards are waiting right now to come up with the narrative that's going to push their party. Right? This has got nothing to do with that. If the person is suffering from mental illness, maybe that's a discussion we need to have, right? But don't let them tell you what happened. Don't buy into any of that crap, because whether you're going that way or that, it doesn't matter. They've got a narrative they're going to stick down your throat. So don't listen to me either, right? Just go and find out the info, but try to do it places that aren't going to tell you why it happened. Who, what, when, where, right? I don't need to know why. I'll figure that out on my own. I'm a big boy. Let me do the math in my head, right? I just want to know who this dude is, what happened, are people safe? I don't need talking heads to tell me why this is happening, right? Because of what law wasn't passed. They're going to pass 300,000 laws this year. Wrap your dome around that, right? Honestly, during the course of a Congress, hundreds of thousands of laws, how is that possible? If I gave you cash and said over the course of the next 6 months, I want you to list everything you could possibly come up with for a law, you couldn't get me 2,000. These people are in office to write laws, and they're looking at what's happening right now as an opportunity to write some new laws. Make those people we were talking about the other day, right? They can get more money into their political action committees by pushing the gun lobby or going against the gun lobby, or pushing the National Rifle Association to going against them. I love the idea. They should all have to wear jumpsuits with the name of every damn group that sponsors them. You taking money from the NRA? Great, no problem. That's cool, right? Put it on your jacket. If you're not tripped out about it, tell the whole world. And if you're not taking money from them, tell the whole world that, right? If you're taking money from the other side, right? The lawyers. You realize that there are lobbyists out there for lawyers that want to sue gun companies. They want those laws eliminated. so that they can start doing class action lawsuits against the people that make the guns. You realize all the BS that's going on behind the scenes, right? And it's all just a way to exploit the fact that someone, right? People lost their lives today. What the hell else matters? What's wrong with this dude? What's so screwed up with the shooter in this situation? I'm assuming it's a man. I shouldn't do that, but it usually is. What's so screwed up in this guy's December, right? On the 6th of December that this dude's got a gun in his hand. Maybe that's the question, right? Maybe the human side of this. I'm probably dreaming, and I'm probably going to lose subscribers, right? You don't do videos like this. All my friends go, don't ever touch anything like this. And they're right. Oh my God, my grandson is a student there. I just came in. Then can we get specific prayers, right? For Anne's grandbaby, huh? For her grandson. Specific prayers. Here's the good news. And they sent out texts immediately. They have I was talking about this at the beginning of the show. They have a system in place to communicate with students in case of this exact same situation. They got this is not a drill. They do drill all the time. They got this is not a drill. This is an active shooter situation. Get in place, hunker down, lock doors, anywhere you can get where, right? So all of this is being set up. This is good news, right? This is good news. And sadly, we have learned from past mistakes, right? We don't allow active shooters to sit, right? We don't spend a lot of time doing negotiating and stuff. We go in, and it's because that has been proven to save more lives. So let's not hang any crepe, and let's not think worst possible case scenarios, right? Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate you. Right? This is the kind of stuff right here. This is it. Right? I hope all are safe. Prayers for your grandson in, right? I hope all are safe. Thoughts and prayers to all of those who are hunkering down in place. Right? And then let's maybe take a vow to not let this become something political that divides us more as people. Right? Every one of us, there's nobody, believe this, outside of elected officials who are sick human beings. I'm sorry they are. But take every other American walking the streets today, and it doesn't matter what party they voted for, they're not happy that kids lie dead today. Now, if they use that to try to push their political narrative, shame on them. Shame on them. But there's nobody on the left or on the right that wants to see anybody dead. I got to believe that, right? Don't let this thing get political, man. We do want to stop it. We do want to stop it. I swear to God on all that's holy. Do you have any idea how easy it would be to stop school shootings? I'm not joking. I'm not joking. It would not be difficult. I could tell you right now, but then people would go nuts on me. But I promise you, it's not a difficult concept. It's not. You know how I know this? Because I lived in a place where lawlessness was completely overrun. And on the prisons that they absolutely want locked the hell down so that nothing can happen, they can do it. And they can do it in such a way that you don't even know it's happening. There are convicts that know what I'm talking about. You can automate a building and make it safe. Believe that. You can automate a building so that the building takes care of business. So that the person that walks through the front door is taken care of by the building. Believe that, right? That's done in other places. We just don't think it's important enough to do for kids. But the building itself can protect the building. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But they are absolutely hunkered down in place. The texts went out instantly. This is a place that is across the country. Honestly, they're praised for being a very, very proactive campus in having planned for the inevitable, or the sadly inevitable, right? But they've planned for this, so everyone is hunkered down in place. Yeah, you know what? You're right, Kathy Ann. That's a beautiful comment. Anyone who focuses on politics instead of lives needs help themselves. Yeah, and you know how that help really should come? In the form of not voting for any one of them ever again, because they've lost sight of what is most important in life. And people who lose sight of what is most important in life should not be leading anyone anywhere. This is basic human stuff. This isn't politics. If you've lost sight of what is important, right? Well, I'm glad that someone is cycling in there to take care of it, but it is heartbreaking. I'm going to play both of these ones here back to back. Kathy Ann says, my son's middle school, had veteran volunteers due to multiple threats the last few years. And they cycle in and out to watch over them. It's heartbreaking. It absolutely is heartbreaking. Thank you, because this is happening as we speak. Clara says, Las Vegas police said suspect is no longer with us after responding to an active shooter situation in Beam Hall at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Okay, do you hear that? Tim, you know what that is? That's Squirrel Nut Zipper's water fountain. Hold on. Sorry, that is Squirrel Nut Zipper's water fountain. Sorry, my cat. Here's the thing with Squirrel. If you put out a water dish, she sticks her paws in it. I don't know what the deal is, but the cat has this thing about sticking their feet in water dishes, right? So I have to get water that cycles, and she has to drink it like a water fountain because my cat's a weirdo. All cats are weirdos, but my cat in particular does not like freestanding water. She wants her paw in it. You know what? I don't blame this sentiment, right? This was me for a long time. All politicians just want the almighty buck, which is why I stopped voting decades ago, and I do not complain ever about who is in office or what, right? Which is what most people say. If you don't vote, if you're going to complain about it, then don't vote about it. That is something that, let me understand, the shooter is either captive or deceased. He is deceased. That is the news that I just got, is that he is deceased. No, we're not. No, you know what, people? Every once in a while, look, a political rant here in the comment section that isn't taking a shot at people, other people in the comment section, and I don't care much. I am of the firm belief that people sometimes need to rant. And you know what? Sometimes I read rants that I don't agree with, and I just think, you know what, that person just needs to rant. It's okay, right? It is. We're all human. And these things are hard. How everybody deals with this kind of thing is unique to them, and I can't blame anybody for that, right? I can't fault anybody for that. But the reason that I'm going live is not because I want to take advantage of this situation, but it's because a lot of us here struggle, and the smallest things. I'll tell you a story. This is a true story. Not the Challenger explosion, but the second shuttle that exploded. Now, admittedly, people, I always was looking for a really good excuse, but I had been sober a long time off heroin, and that was the day that I relapsed, and that was my excuse. And literally, I was crying about it, but I think I just really wanted an excuse, and it was a good one. But I don't know. The last time I looked at a news report, right, it said that at least 2 that they know of, and I haven't seen that updated on my Chiron. If anyone else is seeing that updated, right? But I have not as yet seen that. And Hummingbird, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that you're liking it. Kathy Ann says, I'm just seeing multiple victims. That's what I have this right now going across the bottom of my screen while I'm watching you, right? And you could be doing the same thing. The reason that I like to do it here is so that people can have an opportunity to converse, because a lot of us process things in ways that are hard, right? This is difficult. By the way, if you pound the like button when you get here, I got this from AA Ron recently. But if you pound the like button when you guys first get here, it helps YouTube send out more notifications, right? If they think that the product, like if I'm going live a lot, but a lot of people are showing up and hitting like, then they actually start sending out more notifications, and you will know. By the way, a lot of people get unsubscribed from me. If that's happening to you, I apologize. I'm getting a lot of emails about it. I have no idea why it happens. My brother said on his channel, it's been going back 7 years. It happens to every creator. It happens to AA Ron. It's some people on some channels, other people on other channels. It's a very strange hit or miss thing, but check, because sometimes you've been unsubscribed. And if you want, you hit the bell for notification. You got to make sure that you look to see that you're getting all, right? Because there's different levels of notification. So hit all. We're here every day at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m., right? 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. But during the holiday season. I'm jamming in as much as I can possibly jam in the month of December. I'm just keeping it real. I'm going to pack this channel because this is the month of connection. This is the month where lack of connection does bad things to people, right? So I'm going to continue to put up as much as, if not more than, I should probably do during this month. And Google is purging what they think are not active accounts. Now, this does happen all the time, right? But I wouldn't notice it because I have about 140 people coming in a day. So if people are falling off, I'm not noticing it. But I get emails from people who say, every time I go to watch you, I've been unsubscribed. And then in the comments, I probably get 4 comments a day over the course of all the videos of people who say, I don't know why I keep having to subscribe every time I come back here. So it's not a case of the purge. The purge does happen all the time on YouTube. And sometimes, like I had a friend that lost like 400 or something. I guess we're very lucky. I've never really taken a big hit in a purge where I just saw a lot disappear at once. I think 30 in one day for no reason. I hadn't done anything to bother anybody, but I saw a drop of 30 in one day. I think that was probably a purge. But I do want to put up as much content as possible during this month. Ray says he doesn't celebrate the holiday season, therefore they don't bother him. You know what? I'm hearing that from a lot of people. Hunter Haas says, you know what, Ray, I'm with you. Well, I like this answer. This answer sounds great. December is Sagittarius energy. That means love and support energy. Genuine love for all life energy. I dig that, right? I really do. I like this as a concept. You know what? I'm so glad that you brought this up because I will tell you. And the individual that is in my 5 is most likely lurking or maybe even commenting. I don't know, but they're a crew member on the lifeboat. And I'll tell you what, they're thriving. Not only are they doing all right, but they're thriving. This is a tough time of year, right? And people get laid off this time of year. Crazy things happen. But this individual reached out, said I'm suffering, right? And we talked to one another and we sat down and we came up with a plan. And you know what? It looks like this individual is going to be better off than they were before, and that happens a lot. But we can't see past the terrifying day we're having. You know, it's like my dad used to say to me. I'd call him at night, just freaking out about something, and he'd say, "You know what? Let's talk about this when the sun comes up." Right? Because it always looks different when the sun rises, and it's the truth. So I learned in the course of my life that I don't make decisions when it's dark out, because I don't make good decisions when it's dark out. I've never made a good decision when it's dark out, right? So I pray about it. I wait for the sun to come up. It's usually a much different, I have a different outlook on the whole thing, and the decisions are always better. I am so sorry that you guys had to do these drills. It says a lot about the world that we're living in right now. Emmy says, just had to subscribe again. I'll have to remember to keep checking it. I would appreciate it if you all did. You know, it's I don't want anybody to get booted out. And it would be even worse if somebody thinks I booted them out. I'm not doing that, you know, unless you break one of the rules. We simply don't do that, right? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to debate politics here from the front of the room. I'm not. I mean, that's the last thing in the world that I'm ever going to do here. My issue is drugs, right? That's my issue. It's the one that I will absolutely get political about, right? That's my issue. I went to prison for selling guns illegally. Our gun trade, I promise you, is not like other people's black market gun trade. I assure you. The U.S.'s black market gun trade is definitely different than other countries' black market gun trades. When you consider right now in our country, we got about 3-to-1 guns to people, right? A lot of them end up on the black market. And because of how much money you can get for them, the value of them is incredible. Fortunately, the guns that I sold to an undercover cop. I can feel pretty comfortable that I never put any of those things in the hand of anybody that hurt anybody. I fortunately sold a very large cache of guns directly to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So I went straight away, and those guns went straight back to so that they can do it again, sell them to somebody else, and then buy them back from them. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Amanda. I really am. Amanda is suffering from. She says, "Hi, Captain. I'm suffering from a sinus infection and just woke up from a nap to see if there's any active shooter. Prayers for all involved." Yeah, prayers for all involved, right? I think we can pretty much all agree that this sucks, right? I think we can all agree that that this sucks. So, but it is what it is. And Hummingbird. Oh, and Hummingbird, you are funny. Says, that's why I have so many kids. Bad decisions in the dark. Well, I've made some of those too. Bad decisions in the dark and kids. I've done both. I have done both, I promise. Sandy Bowers, it's good to see you. Thoughts and prayers, please. Thoughts and prayers, right? For all parties involved, right? And you know what? Tell you what, I don't care what your religion is. You can just send a positive thought, right? But everybody's capable of that. Everybody's capable of just thinking to themselves, I really hope, right, that all parties involved are safe, right? That's all we're looking for. I think we can all get along with that, right? Okay. So when we go out, right, and we get into the social media and the tweets and everything else start flying, and everybody wants to make a political stand on this thing or talk about why we're screwed up, in certain ways with any of this. Here's what we really need to remember: there are people today who are going to have lost family there, and to them, I think that we owe them. Apparently, there are people that have been, there are casualties. And what I'm reading on the Chiron as of right now is still 2. The active shooter situation is over. The active shooter has been eliminated. He's no longer with us. That is the word that they are putting on the Chiron right now. It was at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV. The shooter is deceased. He was unalived in the library. Several people at least have been injured or are no longer with us. They didn't specify, but there are multiple victims. I did not go live, right, to be a news program on this. I went live so that people who are really struggling with this can talk to one another. I finally got the YouTube creator who pulled out of a project angry enough to admit why, and it only took 5 weeks. Well, good for you. I'm glad that you were able to get that. 5 weeks is a bit of time, but you know what? That's communication, and I'll be honest with you. I think that's good stuff. I really do. The other option is you put it away, and putting stuff away, and I would keep drilling until I found out why too. Maxine B, I am 100% with you. This is horrific. Right? It's horrific. Sadly, it really is. It's horrific. And you know what, people? This isn't a lifeboat pitch. This isn't anything else, but I believe this. And if you read, when the report comes out and we find out everything that happened in this, you know what we're going to find? We're going to find somebody who suffered really badly with connection. Honestly. I mean, think back to every other person you've ever had to hear about after one of these incidents. They're all people that have pulled back from society. Because if there were people in their life talking to them every single day, right? People see things, right? People see stuff coming and they talk about it. And no, these are people who suffer so badly from a loss of connection in every case. Right? So when I'm crying about the fact that as human beings we don't connect anymore, man, that's my pitch. I would love for everybody to be off dope, but truthfully and honestly, we suffer so badly from a lack of connection in this country, and that's our problem. right? That's our problem. Whether or not you want to believe it, the rest of it's academic. Do some math. You know what? We kill people in this country. We do. But if you do some research, you'll find we kill a lot of people with hammers, right? Honestly, we kill more people with hammers than we do with guns, right? In our country, like more people are going to go to prison this year for killing somebody using a hammer than a gun. We're going to kill people. And sadly, that's the case. But what we need more of, honestly, is connection. I've been in prisons as a perfect example of life, right? You go to big cities and you take 9 million people and you put them on 4 square acres, right? Or 4 square miles, right? What's Manhattan, 12 miles? Right? You can't jam 9 million people on 12 miles. I've been in prisons where there are 3 people in every cell and there's a fight every day. Everywhere in that prison, it's on and cracking, like all the time, because it's overcrowded to beat hell. And people don't get along when you overcrowd them. And then I've been on yards with stone cold killers, guys that are doing life sentences. But there were 750 of us, right? On a yard built for 1,300. And everybody just seemed to get along, right? Everybody just seemed to get along. But unfortunately, we live in a society now where people are going and running and gunning and staring at phones, and individuals get shut out and pushed out of society and have absolutely no contact whatsoever with people, right? No real contact. The opposite of addiction is connection. Guess what? The opposite of every damn problem on planet Earth is connection. If you don't believe that, I promise you, I'm telling you the truth, man. Look around. Look at the people you know in your life who are really struggling. And you know what you're going to find? They're not connecting. They're not. Right? We have the ability to heal ourselves and each other. But it's done through talking to one another. We don't do it anymore. It's freaking horrific. And this thing has made it worse. I swear to God, the reason that people show up here is because they talk to one another in the comment section. There's real connection. People talk about things. And you know what? We don't yell at each other here. Nobody gets angry. We got every religion you can think of and every, I don't believe in anything, every degree of atheist or agnostic that you could think of. And everybody just gets along. It's pretty freaking amazing, isn't it? I mean, what do we all have in common? Everybody shows up with one thought. I'm not going to be mean here. I'm not going to be mean here. I struggle in my life, and I think everybody else struggles in their life, and we're all going to show up here with that as an idea. We all struggle. Drug addict, sober, normie, whatever you want to call them, we all freaking struggle. Man, I hate it when these things happen. I really do. I hate it for the families. I would be so pissed at the people that are going to be making speeches tonight, right? Before my loved one would be in the morgue. They'll be out making speeches. This would rip me in half. I would become a very, very angry person because it angers me and they're not my family. But holy hell, we got to do better as a society, right? I'm not preaching to you guys because you're the kindest people I've ever met, right? I get the vast majority of my emails, the vast majority of the emails I get, and I get a lot of emails, but the vast majority of them say, you know what, this is the nicest group of people I've ever met. I've never felt more welcome anywhere. You know, I came to your channel and everybody was just like, hi, how are you? You know, welcome to the boat. If anything's bothering you, let us know. You know, we got a Facebook, and just sort of welcomed people and did that. That shocks people. The crew of the lifeboat shocks people. I think that's pretty damn cool. I didn't have anything to do with it, by the way. I didn't start that. I don't have a crew of people. I get this question all the time. Do you have a group of people who just go in there to say welcome and do all that stuff? No, I've never asked somebody to do that. I've never asked my mods to do that. I've never asked anybody to do that. I've never had to. Right? The very first day we opened, the first 5 people here were magic. I'm not playing with you. First 5 people, they're still here. But those first 5 people set the tone and everybody followed. So if you see Charlie and you see Miss V and you see Seventh, right? And Leisure and all of the people that were here at Vapor, Swiss Vape, right? And then all that got here a couple of months later or 9 months later that just everybody thought it just I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you when Kathy got here. I couldn't tell you when Miss Dragon got here. I couldn't tell you when any of you did. Because it feels like you've been here forever. Noise Opera's been here forever. Noise Opera's been here twice as the same human. God bless you. I swear to you, people. You talk about someone that turned their life around. Noise Opera turned his life around. I mean, that cat went from somebody that didn't like humanity to somebody that loves it more than anybody I know. That's pretty damn cool. And it's what's possible, not because of me, I assure you, but because of showing up and starting to meet people that really care about you. His name's Nick. And when that atmospheric river broke loose in Canada, do you remember that horrific stuff we were seeing on the news where entire towns were washed away? He was dead square in the middle of it. And the lifeboat came to life. It wasn't this big, but we came to life, praying for him and freaking out. And he was sending us messages while things were literally getting swept away. And I'll tell you what, when that storm was over, I don't know, washed away everything else too, because that cat just was a different human being. I don't know whether it was all the love he got from everybody here on the boat, but boy, I love you too, man. I really do. I really do. Yeah, I really do. He's one of those people. It's just a huge part of this boat, man. Like everybody else, just a huge part of this boat. All right, people, don't let this thing turn into something, please. Right? At least in our sphere, don't let it happen. But chastise the crap out of the first person you hear that turns this political. Chastise the crap out of them. And to think that my mom used to live on a sailboat, and I get very seasick. Who would have thought I would have found comfort in a lifeboat, right? Well, who would have thought that the bank robber would be sitting at the helm of this thing? Huh? I'm telling you, you don't think my friends freak the hell out when they find out what I do? I mean, honestly, there aren't very many of them left. Oh, Val, what a cool thing to say. Val says, Tommy, you make it so easy to be a voice and speak and be relatable. Thank you, Tommy, for your channel. Well, thank you. What a cool thing to say. You know, it's nice that nobody can see you, right? So if you're having a bad day and you want to come here and talk about that, that's great. Yeah, no, see, this is really kind of unique, right? I do not want jeans all day long. A large percentage of our tragedies in Canada were and are from a kitchen utensil. An individual will get a hold of whatever they want, no matter what the laws. And there's a lot of truth to that. But, if everybody's connecting, right? Honest to God. If you took the time to say to people that just look upset, yeah, right? That kind of thing. Now, Tommy, do you ever talk to prison groups? Do you know how fast I would go talk to a prison group if I were allowed? I won't be allowed to talk to a prison group for probably a decade. If at all possible, they may never allow it. Thank you, Chili Mancer. I would love to go. I would love to go into a prison. I mean, about more than anything. I dream of that day when I can go in and talk to inmates and be like, sat right in that chair, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to BS you. I sat in that chair so many times. I would love that. But they get very dicey when you're a convict and you want to go in. They think you just want to, they think you want to bring in dope or you want to bring in guns. Like, I'm a convict, so obviously if I'm going through that door, I'm trying to help somebody escape. They get very dicey about if I get really famous, right? If the channel gets big enough, I'll probably get, because they'll waive the law. They let people in, but they wouldn't let me in today. But if it got big enough, I'd like to do a big, I would love to do that. I would go to every prison in America. I promise you. I would go around and talk to all of them. I'd like people to believe that there's hope. Because I promise you, you don't feel a lot of it in there. There's not a lot of hope inside. Inside, hope is considered a bad substance. Wow, I like this. There's a world we've never seen. There's still hope between the dreams. It says, hope between the dreams. I like the way that worked that in there. What about a Zoom call meeting? Yeah, I would do that too. I mean, I really love the idea of going in. We have all done things, Tommy. I'm beyond bail status. You know what, man? I'll tell you the truth. Like, so my last 3 arrests were no bail. So don't let them fool you, right? When they tell you that every single person in America has the opportunity to bail out. They just said to me, not going to happen. Not going to happen. When I got busted the last time, I lived in a home that I owned. I had been living in the state, in the same city for 20 years. I had my mother and father lived in the home in the city that I lived in. My sister and her husband lived in the city that I lived in. I had more ties to the community than anybody in history. I've been going to the same church for like 6 or 7 years. They wanted nothing to do with it. They just weren't even going to have a hearing. So don't let them lie to you. They lie. This I will be doing. Make no mistake. This I will be doing, and I will be doing probably this year. Talking to at-risk kids is something that I will be doing. I have done before. It's something that I enjoy doing. I really love talking to at-risk kids. I'll be doing it again this year. I will also hopefully be talking to kids that are not considered at risk. I have a plan. So we're going to be doing some talking to kids. Shelly, that's lovely. That's lovely. Where do you see comments like this that get put up so that people can read them, right? This is healthy. This is healthy. It really is. And hummingbird. See, we can't see people, and it makes it a lot easier for people to say things. I have a malignant tumor in a kidney, survived a stroke, and still can't quit smoking. Okay? All right. So the problem is nicotine, right? And the problem is the habit. The smoke itself is really what the issue is, right? I mean, you're lighting something on fire and you're breathing it in. We've talked about this a lot, Anne, about harm reduction. We're big believers here in harm reduction. And it's 2024? No, 2023. So there are a lot of ways to get nicotine into your body that don't require lighting anything on fire. So instead of maybe thinking to yourself, I gotta quit, maybe just quit smoking, right? Vaping, while not a beautiful thing, is not fire, right? It is vapor, right? And vapor is considerably cooler going into the lungs than is smoke. This is the distinction between smoking versus vaping. Oh, I love that you said this. This is the coolest thing I've ever heard. When I start feeling anxious, I watch The Lifeboat and I learn a new way to strengthen my sobriety. What a beautiful thing to say. And you can do this. A lot of people on the boat have done the harm reduction thing with smoking and have gone from smoking cigarettes to vaping, or have gone from smoking cigarettes to using a pouch. Absolutely, Shelly. Where's Shelly? Vape has a lot of chemicals in it, but it's not 400 degrees, right? So it's harm reduction. I'm not saying, hey, everybody take up vaping. What I'm saying is harm reduction, right? It's like the people that say to me, I'm trying to quit drinking. Well, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Do you see this, people? Now I'm putting this up on the fly. I have not seen that on the Chiron. Has anyone else seen that? Oh, that's a nice thing to say. Thank you, Amanda. Well, you know what, people? Here's what's fun. Believe it or not, there's 1,400 episodes of The Lifeboat. You can go back. You can watch a lot of Lifeboat. I've talked about everything. I promise you. So patches. Okay, good. Take patches off the table. I'll be really honest with you. I've not seen a lot of success since starting to sit in the chair of the Lifeboat. I've not seen a lot of success with patches. And the reason is we get addicted to the ritual, right? This is why vaping is such a nice way for somebody to start the harm reduction process and begin working toward not putting any chemicals in your body, which is the best case scenario. But in the interim, right, vapor is much cooler than smoke. And I don't mean cooler as in, because honestly, there's a great episode of Family Guy where they talk about how it makes you look like a D-bag, and I did it. But you know what? It was a lot better for me than smoking was. But you can then sort of start phasing your way off of it, right? No joy. See, Erica nails it. And by the way, I love the phrase "no joy." I've been saying that my whole life. No joy, right? The patches fall off; they suck, and you find yourself rubbing on it. You find yourself doing things to try to get it to release nicotine, and that's right. This is not a good behavior. Whereas if you're just trying to go ahead and take a drag off of a vape, it's the same concept, but you could do it in right anywhere, and you're not going to offend people. And people tend to take out a vape and hit it and put it away. Whereas people would take out a cigarette, which is what now, about $3 a piece or some crap, and you light that thing on fire. They're at least like $2 a piece. I don't know what they cost. I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes in forever, but you light that and you smoke the entire thing. Well, that's not how people vape. So start the process of harm reduction and start it with what looks like a cigarette, because you're not going to have to come up with a new, like the ritual of smoking will be the same to you, right? I use a Nicorette inhaler. You know what? Excellent. I've never seen one. I've seen the ads for them, right? The Nicorette inhaler. I've seen the ads for these. I've never actually seen one. But I loved the idea of them. The reason that people seem to like the vaping too is because there's something that comes out, right? It isn't smoke. It dissipates very quickly. You'll notice that like smoke does not. But $13 a pack in Connecticut. Wow, says Zippy. $13 a pack. Wow, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Holy crap. Somebody told me recently that, I don't remember where they lived, but they said it was like $22 for a pack of Newports. I'm sorry, people, I'm talking. This is, Amanda, I'm glad that you said this. I'm glad that you said this. And she said, I put in the comments the other day that I had to come to the realization that I was not only addicted to opiates, I was addicted to the needle and the ritual as well. And it was just as hard to break. I think the ritual is the most difficult part of all habits. For me, I believe that, right? Because you have to understand that starts the whole brain chemical thing. I've talked about this so many times on the boat. But when the drug dealer hands you the package in the parking lot and you grab it in your hands, by the way, these are baby aspirin for my keep my blood thin. But you grab the dope and immediately the brain chemical starts. Well, then you go home and you put it out on the table and you get out your spoon and you get out the cigarette lighter and all of these things that are part of the process, right? And all of that becomes ritual. And, the ritual is something that we're very good at as human beings. I've talked about this so many times on the boat, but 80% of what goes on in our life is autopilot, right? It's like tying the shoes. It's stuff that we do that we've done so many times that you do not have to think about it. Air cigarette. Where could I find one? And Hummingbird. That would be the Nicotrol inhaler, I believe is what you'd be talking about. That is air cigarette, right? There is no vape. There's no nothing. It's just a little tube and you breathe in and all it is nicotine. As I've said, I've not used one of these, okay? But I have seen advertisements for them all over the place. But my understanding was you have to get them with a prescription of a doctor. That's my understanding. If somebody knows otherwise, like Jesper, I think it was, then please correct me. But that's my understanding on the Nicotrol inhaler. Question, Tommy, does Suboxone help with increasing dopamine after detoxing from opioids? That's really an odd question. Here's what Suboxone does, right? What Suboxone does is it makes you believe that you did dope, right? And it makes you believe that for the entire day so that your brain doesn't ever think, oh, dope would be nice. You're not high, but the receptor believes that it's been fed. In Denmark, Nicorette inhalers are over the counter. In the United States, they are not. Sadly, you are going to need to get a script for that. So what Suboxone does for me is it eliminates having to worry about any of that. Now, my dopamine and everything else, I get that here. I get that working with you guys one-on-one. I get that by playing with my cat. I get that by working out. I get that by all of the things that I do, right, that are in my bag of tricks so that I can live and be comfortable just being me. I'm a goof, right? But now I'm comfortable being a goof. I don't right? I don't care that the world sees who I am. I used to get high, which would allow me to sort of portray this. Now this is who I am, and I don't care if the world likes it. If you don't like it, then you walk away, right? Oh, Tammy, if you knew the amount of pepper in my diet, I love you. Tammy says, Tommy, if you like a little chicken, your food use, cayenne pepper. This will lower blood pressure as well as an excellent blood thinner. It has to be cayenne, not chili pepper. I use a lot of cayenne pepper. We are the Scovilles, so we the amount of cayenne pepper used in this house would probably terrify you. I think it probably would terrify you. The amount of every pepper consumable used in this house would probably terrify you. Yes, there is a wicked amount of adrenaline released during the ritual. Yeah, there is. And there's everything else, by the way. Everything else. I'm not exaggerating. There are so many brain chemicals that are tied to ritual. Hold on one second. Oh, Jebs, I think you're going to be very happy with this. I think you're going to be very happy with this. Jem's Journey says, after I wean from 200 milligrams of morphine a day to 50, the doctor wants me to try Suboxone. I think that you're going to find that that's a very logical step down, and it's probably going to make it easier on you. Pup Groomer says, I quit cigarettes in April after almost 30 years, after surgery not being able to walk outside for 10 days. Can't do the patch, the adhesive burns the skin, and I can't do gum or lozenges, they make me sick. I vape now. How do you feel, Pet Groomer, after switching to the, after you stopped burning things? Like, was this a change in, and be honest, if I'm crazy, tell me I'm crazy. You know what it is? Holly from Texas says, I think Tommy may be part Cajun. Tommy is Johnny Scoville's brother. You see that silver play button behind my shoulder? Okay, that belongs to my brother and a channel called Chase the Heat. And my brother is a much, much more successful YouTuber than I am. He's quite famous, but he's famous for eating the hottest things on planet Earth and doing more than other people do of it. Eating Carolina Reapers and whatever the hottest peppers in the world are, my brother's probably eating a handful of them as we speak. Sadly, there's a lot of people who get a lot of entertainment out of seeing him burn his younger brother. So I eat a lot of hot stuff. If you watch Chase the Heat, you'll see me in pain constantly. It's part of my brother's business model, I think. That's correct. Suboxone has but two ingredients, buprenorphine and naloxone, neither of which help with dopamine, but they are incredibly helpful for coming off of opiates. And what they will do is allow you to actually begin to experience the rise in dopamine levels that are accompanied without drugs, right? Prior to this, you're not going to get your dopamine level to move because it's going to be so far below baseline because you're dope sick and you're jonesing, right? Once you can eliminate that in your life, then you can start to play the games that we talk about on the lifeboat. And these are games that manipulate, right, dopamine. And I don't care if in the beginning, right, in the beginning, vape, because nicotine is dopamine times 2. So if you need in the beginning a little bit more dopamine, we'll go ahead and vape. I don't care. Anything, right? Just harm reduction. Do less harm. I think harm reduction is a beautiful thing. People in rehab hate me. You know this, right? People in the rehab community hate me because you don't talk about harm reduction. You talk about cold turkey. But I'm not anti-drug. I'm anti-addiction. So if you can cut down on the amount of dope you're doing, at least you're moving in the right direction. And then ideally, we're going to get you to say, hey, I got this far, right? But if you can't quit yet, cut the hell down, right? To me, this makes sense. Wow. It's very rare that you hear somebody say that, but here we have someone that is allergic to capsaicin. What a bummer. I'm so sorry to hear that. For real. Capsaicin does wonders for playing with dopamine levels. Capsaicin is great stuff for that, for real. My brother walks around in a capsaicin haze I mean, honestly, Johnny treats his pain through the use of capsaicin, but he doesn't rub it on it. He eats it. He eats it until dopamine kicks in. Kicks in and he does not hurt. Yeah, this is interesting, and I'm glad you said this. I was concerned about Suboxone after watching the last season of 60 Days In and finding they are abusing it. Okay, this is hard to understand, but this is how this works. If you've never used an opiate in your life, then an agonist antagonist like buprenorphine can get you high, really high, right? It really can. So guys in prison that have never, they come in and they're addicted to meth. They've never done opiates. That guy is a candidate to get addicted to Suboxone and fast, right? Because they're going to take a strip, right? Which a normal person detoxing will take 2 of and feel nothing. And they'll take that strip and cut it into 32 pieces. And 1/32 of that will get them high. But if you give that to somebody that's been doing 200 milligrams of morphine, they're not going to feel a thing. Nothing. Because it's a beautifully designed drug. It really is. Sadly, there's always going to be somebody that figures out a way to abuse this stuff. And for the people that need this stuff, it does nothing. I promise you. Ask anybody that's on it. They don't feel a buzz, right? There's no buzz. If you're looking for a buzz, don't do this because you're going to be very disappointed. The number of people that I have helped get onto medical assisted treatment in my life is, in the 3 digits, right? I've helped a lot of people do this. And if you knew how many times I got a phone call from somebody who they went through the process, they went and got their prescription, they take the first strip, they wait 10 minutes and they call me and they go, this thing hasn't done anything. And I go, it doesn't kick in 10 minutes, man, right? And usually these people are sick. And I say, it doesn't kick in 10 minutes. It takes about 30 or 40 minutes under the tongue. It's just, you gotta sit down and you gotta wait. And then I get a phone call and about 30 or 40 minutes later and they'll go, Tommy, this stuff doesn't do a damn thing. I don't feel anything. I feel nothing. And I'll go, you don't feel a thing. And they'll go, nothing. I feel nothing. And I'll go, okay, are you sick? And I get that pregnant pause and then I get the, no, yeah. Well, that's what it does, right? It makes it so that people who have been addicted to that stuff don't get sick. It makes it for people who are struggling with cravings. It'll eliminate the cravings. It'll trick the receptor into thinking that it's been drugged, and you won't get any kind of cravings. Pup Groomer says, the lifeboat. I'm feeling a lot better. Live in the mountains of what? Nevada, Northeast Nevada, 6,500 foot elevation. I can breathe better. Well, I used to live in Northern Nevada myself, Pup Groomer. I just recently moved from Northern Nevada down here to sunny Tucson, Arizona. Cayenne pepper capsaicin is the ingredient inside of peppers that makes things hot. That's what it is. And the Scoville, as in like my last name, the Scoville scale was developed by Wilbur Scoville so that you could keep track of how hot peppers are. Something like a cayenne pepper or say a jalapeno pepper on a Scoville heat unit scale might be 3,000 or 4,000. And a Carolina Reaper might be 2 million, right? So 2 million Scoville units, we're talking about so hot that people eat them and then call 911. If they haven't been properly warned, they'll think it's going to kill them. It's really, really hot. Go watch some videos of the Tube of Terror online. Or better yet, just go over to Chase the Heat. Go check out my brother, Johnny Scoville, on Chase the Heat. You'll know everything you ever wanted to know about capsaicin. You'll watch my brother eat peppers that literally kill, make people like me feel like they're going to pass away. And he just eats them like this and talks the entire time. He's so frustrating. It's not, like to punch him right in his. I'm kidding. I'm fond of Johnny for the most part. It exactly stops sickness and cravings. It has saved so many lives. It has saved so many lives here. Right here. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine how many lives it's saved in the real world because the number of people that it has saved on the lifeboat is staggering. Thank you, Nick. I am the Noise Opera. Just put up a link to my brother's channel. You can go over there and see why I am definitely, I come by the pepper thing honestly, right? There's no hope for me. I'm gonna have to come by the pepper thing. I am Tommy Scoville. Yes. Amanda says, the only way I can tell anything about being on Suboxone is if I miss a dose. I was in rehab for 7 days, got some smuggled in and was high as a kite. But when you have a tolerance, it doesn't do anything. And you could have it smuggled in, but if you were to do it 2 or 3 days in a row, it would not continue to get you high. And the guys in prison find this out very quickly. They buy a $5 hit and it gets them high for 3 days. And then they need a $10 hit. And it gets them high for 4 days, and then they need a $25 hit. And pretty soon, they're in deep trouble. Deep, deep trouble. Where? Do you think it's better to be on methadone or Suboxone? I think it's better to be on either than heroin. That's what I think. It's way better to be on either of those also than fentanyl, right? I prefer Suboxone. I think people, in my experience, I've seen a lot more people get off of Suboxone than get off of methadone. But either way, right, that's harm reduction. And harm reduction is great. I want some Tommy and Relatable Reese content. You two would burn the screen. You know what? I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna send her a text. How's that? I promise. But I also have a special guest coming on this week, people. And I want to tell you something. You've never seen the lifeboat go nuts like the lifeboat is going to go nuts. You've been warned. You think we're gonna put the chat on slow motion? I'm telling you, people. We got a big one coming up. Oh, my Lord in heaven. Oh, my Lord in heaven. People, do you hear this? Jem's Journey. Jem says, before I found out how dangerous my drugs were, I would take 100 milligrams of morphine, which, by the way, I would get high on, with 40 milligrams of Valium, which I also would get high on, and 10 milligrams of diphenhydramine. Now, if you guys are new to that, that is basically Benadryl, or the active ingredient in Benadryl, and a few shots of peppermint schnapps. I had no idea. How am I alive? Well, that's really the question, because every single thing that you just listed is a respiratory depressant. I don't care what you believe in. Somebody kept you alive for some reason. Kick that one around, because I'm telling you, you should have gone to sleep and never woke up. God or something in the universe wanted you here. Oh, you know what? Let me rephrase that then, Jennifer. For pain, there's no comparison. Methadone is a superior drug for pain than Suboxone is. Suboxone is a superior drug, in my opinion, for getting off of opiates. But for pain, they're not even in the same arena. One is an actual painkiller and one is not. And methadone is a wildly effective painkiller. It kills pain. It does. I'm not sure that it's the greatest substance in the world to help people get off of. Still better than heroin, I promise. But for a painkiller, that's as good as it gets. And it is wildly inexpensive. So maybe the best possible case scenario for long-term treating of pain. Okay? So yeah, definitely for the treatment of your pain, that would be a better bet. In my opinion, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you that I've done a lot of both, and one is a really good painkiller and one is not. Thoughts and prayers for Charlie Murphy. We don't like you driving around at night, Charlie. Charlie's working. Being a Bronco fan is on your birth certificate. All righty. Sarah, welcome. Sarah's just tuning in. You gotta love it. It is close to the end of the show, but I thought I'd like to throw you out a hello. Oh, Ann was born in Denver and now stuck in California. From the Mile High to the land of, well, whatever. Oh, wow. This is so hard. First of all, let me say this about fibromyalgia. I'm working, I have more crew members who write to me who have fibromyalgia than any other ailment. And I feel horrendous for people who have it because there are doctors that still don't seem to want to believe in it. And I know, right? I know. I know so many people that have it. This is a very real and a very, very painful and hard to predict ailment. And it's very difficult to treat. So my heart goes out to you. I don't know. I know that there are people. Some people have done really well with Neurontin, right, which is gabapentin, and there are people who seem to like Lyrica for the treatment of that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't. It's just, and it's hit or miss. What seems to do great with some people does nothing for others. Amanda says methadone is the worst withdrawal on the planet, and you know what? She's right. Never again. Legitimately, 60 days of hardcore withdrawal. Well, I'm going to beat that. Honestly. So I've told the story on the boat before, but if you haven't been here a very long time, we robbed we robbed a truck delivering methadone to a methadone clinic and stole 3 boxes of methadone liquid. 3 boxes. Bottles this big, that tall. If you've been to a clinic, you know the bottle I'm talking about. It's the one they just put the pump in the top of. We had 16 bottles. And we were drinking methadone out of wine glasses. We were probably doing 300 or 400 milligrams of it a day. And I was doing it for a really, really long period of time. And I ended up going to prison. I pled guilty. I got arrested on September 21st. I was in prison on October 21st. I managed to get the whole thing done, wrapped up, and in prison in 30 days. I hadn't slept. I hadn't done anything. And then I spent 30 days in the fish tank, and then an additional 30 days in their second kind of intake. So it had been 90 days of me dry heaving every morning. And I'll be honest with you, you want to build a 6-pack better than anybody on planet Earth? Kick methadone, cold turkey, right, in prison. Because I went from about 260 pounds down to about 180, and all I did was dry heave, which is nothing but, right, crunches, involuntary crunches. And I was doing them every day for about 90 days, every day for about 90 days. I am off Percocet and switched to gummies. I have started to take gummies to sleep. 6 days, no dreams. And to me, that is an absolute blessing. I do not use the stuff for any other reason because I need to be very careful. So, and it's one of the reasons I talk about it here all the time is because I would like to keep myself accountable to me and to the people that I care about, because just bringing that into my life is frightening, but it's not as frightening as bad dreams. So gabapentin seems to be working for Jennifer. I know gabapentin is given out a lot for fibromyalgia. And C, I don't know how to answer that question. Fibromyalgia seems to be nerve endings malfunctioning like a big dog and causing all kinds of pain. How did I do, Jennifer? Does that sound pretty close? N. Smith says, edibles help me so much too. No dreams. Thank you. Well, thank you to all the people who reached out to me, because I got this from viewers, right? I had so many viewers reach out to me who said that they were of the belief that that's what I should be giving a try to, because it took away their dreams from their PTSD. And I tried it because I was desperate, and it has done wonders for me. That's me. But the trips captain says, just FYI, recently asked doctors for gabapentin because I wanted something non-narcotic for neuropathic pain. They labeled it as a drug seeking. Some docs, I understand this, okay? If you ask for this by name, people do try to get high on gabapentin, right? And if you take, 4,000 or 5,000 milligrams of it, you're going to get wasted. It's not a particularly nice buzz, but people do it. People in prison do it. Well, this is what I was going through, right? I was reliving somebody that I watched get killed, but it would be people that I loved being the person getting stomped to death instead of somebody else. So it's yeah, but it's helped me. It's really helped me. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you talk about yourself. I'm definitely not proud of everything I've done, but glad I'm trying to be a better person. Hey, can anybody ask for anything more than that? Hey, look, here's how it goes. I don't know any of you. I didn't meet any of you before you got to the boat, right? So I'll judge you based on what you do from the time you get here. I don't have any desire to judge anybody for anything they did before they got here. It's got nothing to do with me. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. If I found out that you were somebody that was attracted to kids, I assure you, you're not going to be around here. If I find out that you like hitting women, you're not going to be here, right? There are things I don't forgive, right? God forgives, right? He does. But there are things I'm not so good at. Do edibles make you hungry? They can't me, Deeming, because I eat them right before going to sleep. So for me, it doesn't do a thing. It may make me hungry, but it's the middle of the night, so. Yeah, a lot of people. Amanda, 60 days is impressive. It really is. I've heard people say that it took 6 months. And it's just different with every person. She's still referring to kicking methadone, dolufene. Ah! Davina, that's terrifying. Seriously. Yeah, you probably noticed that it makes your head a little thick. You probably want to talk a little bit more, right? The I used to be given 3,600 milligrams 3 times a day in the feds, and then the feds changed how much they would give out. Sadly, by then I had been taking a bunch of it, a bunch. So, Davina, what a scary dream. That whole alien thing freaks me out. That scene was, I remember being a little kid, that scene scared the crap out of me, man. Tammy says, also experienced fibromyalgia and debilitating migraines. This sent me down a rabbit hole of alternative meds such as herbs and natural healing. Definitely a lot of research and experimentation. Well, you know what? Then please get over there to the Lifeboat group page over on Facebook. You don't have to go anywhere else. If you can handle it, a lot of people would love to hear about that, because that's the kind of stuff that I've become a very big believer in. I do not want anything. I'm so sorry for you, Navina. It's the nightmare thing. I really understand. I really do. The nightmare thing is something I really understand. I do a lot of journaling. The more bad dreams I'm having, the more I journal, because I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it. And the journal to me is my counselor. It's where I can talk. No one's going to judge, right? And when I get stuck and I'm doing this one, I say to myself, how does that make you feel? Because that's all a counselor would do anyway, right? I mean, I have great counselors, but they do ask that question when you get stuck, right? That's what they do. Come on, Tommy, how does that make you feel? Open up, right? So I can do that with or without. I like having them because they make me accountable, right? I see 3 currently, different counselors. I am an advocate, right? Big advocate of counseling and of therapy. It's good stuff. Thoughts and prayers for Navina, please. And then thoughts and prayers also for Lady Fiona Crispin, who's still struggling with the C+ math. She is a crew member of this boat and a great human being. We love her. So thoughts and prayers, please, for her. Vixen, good to see you. All right, everyone, I'm going to be back tonight. Thoughts and prayers for all of the people out in Las Vegas. Please don't let this become a political thing. See this here? This isn't just a cat in a basket. This is the world's cutest tortoise cat in a basket. Squirrel nut zipper. Look at that. What are you doing? All right, people. We'll see you on the next one. What do you say there, Squirrel Nut?